Hello everyone. So in this new chapter or say exercise, I'm here with you with the exercise on spotting errors, which is very important exercise. We all know because this is the exercise which will actually examine a grammatical knowledge. Hmm? So unless and until you're confident about your knowledge of grammar, it's better not to attempt these exercise. I don't mean to say that the people should not take the help from all these kind of exercise. What I mean to say is that these exercises are not there to teach you grammar. At the most, they may help you some of the rules of the grammar that probably you have forgotten, and because of that you're committing errors, or maybe because of that you're not able to find out the errors. So this is what I mean to say, that first of all we need to know at least this much of grammar, that we are able to make sentences correctly. Then only we will be able to find out the errors. All right, so let's begin. I've selected not many but only 10 sentences here, and I've written the direction exactly how it is asked in the competitive examination, whether you talk of railways, whether you talk of banking, SSC, CDS, whatever. So these kind of directions are given there. Some of the sentences are grammatically correct and some are incorrect. Find out which part of the sentence has an error and mark that part. And if there is no error, mark that part as your answer. So basically in these kind of exercises, these sentences are divided into different parts. Although I have not divided them because my only aim is to help you understand what is wrong, what is correct, what is incorrect in that sentence. So I have not unnecessarily divided them. But it could be presented before you in different divisions: part A, part B, part C, part D, etc. And in that case, you are supposed to find out which part of the sentence has an error, in case it has, because it is not necessary that every sentence will have an error. So whichever part, if you think has an error, your answer would be that particular part. It may be B, it may be C, it may be D, whatever. And in case we find that that particular sentence is error free, then the last option, which may be D or E, where no error is written, we can go for that particular option. So let's begin here. Here we just need to find out the error in case there is any, and we need to find out the correct answer. So let's see how much ready you are for these kind of exercises. The first sentence: another baffling change that I notice in him nowadays is that he avoids to speak to me. So in this sentence, what do you think? If there is any error or not? There is an error, and the error is it should be avoids speaking. So whenever we use the word avoid, remember we are not supposed to use infinitive after it. That means we are not supposed to use to after it. We need to use the ing form of the verb after verbs like avoid. So there are many verbs like these. I'm not going to tell you in detail about them, but just giving the example of avoid. If there is the word like avoid and there is a verb after it, it must come in the ing form. So this would be the correct answer. Another baffling change that I notice in him nowadays is that he avoids speaking to me. All right, fine. The next sentence, I asked him how could he go out if it started raining. What is the error here? it should be how he could. Here you can see after how in the sentence could has been used and after could he has been used, but the correct sequence of these words would be how he could. Could must come after he. Many of you may doubt or many of you may commit this kind of error, questioning that because it is a question, why should could not come before he? So I must tell you in this sentence, how is not an interrogative pronoun, but how has been used as conjunction. Are you getting it? In this sentence, how has not been used as a interrogative pronoun. If a sentence begins with how itself in the form of question, when the intention is to ask a question and the sentence itself begins with how, obviously then this sequence would be correct. For example, how could he be so irresponsible? All right, somebody is asking someone about someone, how could he be so irresponsible? In this case the sequence is correct because here we are asking question, but in this sentence, even though you are using the word how, your intention is not to ask a question. On the contrary, you actually mean to say that he should not have gone out if it had already started raining. So basically here how is functioning as a conjunction, not as an interrogative pronoun, and therefore the correct sequence would be how he could rather than how could he. Are you getting it? I give you another example of conjunction how. For example, this is how we should do it. Now here we are using the word how, but what is how? Is it an interrogative pronoun? No. So do not try to assume the meaning of word, in isolation. Always the meaning of word, at least the meaning of most of the words used in English, are context based. That means it depends entirely upon the context in which that word has been used, and based on that context, based on that situation, we try to infer the meaning of that word. Since here how has not been used to ask a question, the sequence of interrogative sentence will not be followed. We will simply say how he could. I hope you understood it. Third one is, one of the state in which Satyagraha was offered was Rajkot, where he had spent his youth. Remember, whenever you use phrase like one of the, whichever word you will use after this, the must be in plural form. You get it? Therefore, the correct answer would be one of the states, not state. That means there are many states, one of them. You get it? Therefore, we are using plural number. There are many, and we are talking about one of them. And therefore, here we must use states, not state. For example, one of his friends has been sent to jail for his violent behavior with his classmates. You get it? Many of us, I've heard many people using this phrase, one of his friend, one of his friend, one of his friend. It is not one of his friend, it is one of his friends. He has many friends and you're talking about one of them. So one of his friends, two of his friends, three of his friends, four of his friends, and so on. Depends what we are willing to say. And since one stands for singular number, we are using here has been. If you use here 2, 3, 4, then the word has must change into have. Number will change. One is singular and after one it will become plural. So two of his friends have been sent to jail. So here I hope you understood why we will use here states, not state, because this phrase whenever we use one of the, it must have the noun in plural number. All right, next one is, hardly the inspector had arrived there to investigate the crime when the house was set ablaze. We all know there is this conjunction pair of hardly had when. Okay, for example, hardly had we reached the station when the train left. So whenever we use this conjunction hardly had, remember both of these words come together, hardly had. But in this sentence, if you can see, hardly and had have been separated with the word the inspector in between these two words, and therefore that is an error. So the correct would be hardly had the inspector. Alright, that would be the correct answer. Hardly had the inspector arrived there to investigate the crime when the house was set ablaze. Sometimes there could also be another kind of error in the sentence. Sometimes the sentence is such that in first pair they use hardly had and in the second pair they may use then, while they must use when, because hardly had is always used with when, then is used with no sooner. So all these important information we must be abreast with, so that we can find out all these kind of errors if they are there in the sentence. Alright, so I think this must be clear by now why we are using hardly had, not hardly the inspector had. Okay, next one is, since his arrival at his native town, he is trying to the best of, he is trying to the best of his abilities to spread education among the poor masses. Now, as you can see here, since his arrival. Do you remember when do we use these words? Since or for. One of the most unforgettable cliche, particularly for since, is I have been suffering from fever since last night. You know, at least whenever I listen to this word since, The first thought that comes to my mind, or the first sentence that comes to my mind, is that of this particular sentence. I've been suffering from fever since last night. Well, this is very helpful in this case of spotting errors. Why? Because it tells you one thing, that the word like since and for will be used always in perfect continuous tense. You getting it? This is perfect continuous tense. They will be used only with has been, have been, plus verb ing form. Hmm? So, bearing this in mind, if you see this sentence, the correction should be he has been trying. What has he been trying to do? He has been trying to spread education. Whence? How long has he been trying to do it? Since his arrival. That means as soon as he arrived in his native town, he started doing this work. So he's not spreading education only on this particular moment, but that action started sometimes in the past and is still going on. So it is started in the past, still not over, going on. Therefore, perfect continuous must be used here. Therefore, instead of saying he is trying, we must say he has been trying. Is that clear? Okay. So now we are moving to another sentence. I don't include more than 10 sentences in a video, otherwise video may become very sometimes boring and lengthy also. But I don't want to use less than 10, because otherwise I will have to upload too many videos to cover any particular topic. So at least 10 sentence will give some idea about different kind of errors, right? Okay, so next one. In various parts of the country, ponds just dry down in the scorching heat of summer. It's very easy. Here it should be dry up, not dry down. Okay, dry up means when ponds get out of the water, I mean, they're devoid of water. There's no water anymore in the ponds. So for that, we use the phrase dry up rather than using dry down. So that would be the answer. For next one is, he lay the watch on the table and then forgot all about it when he went out. We all know the meaning of lay. Alright. Lay means to put something down on surface. But here we can see this word forgot. That denotes that we are talking about the past. And lay is the form of present tense. Therefore, this is the error. Here we must use past form of the verb lay. It should be laid the watch. That means he put the watch on the table and then forgot all about it. So instead of using lay, it should be laid. So error could be related to anything. It may be related to verb, it may be related to preposition, it may be related to conjunction, anything. So we should be thorough with all these parts. Alright, next one is, although he draws a reasonably good salary, he has a large family to support and he finds it difficult to make both ends meet. Fortunately, there is no error in this sentence. Alright, it's perfect. While it is apparent that biotechnology offers significant benefits, here we can use a comma, yeah, so that we can properly understand the sentence. While it is apparent that biotechnology offers significant benefits, adequate attention has not been focused to this vital area. Always remember, whenever we use the word focus, the preposition that must come after it should be on, not to. So the correction would be focused on this vital area rather than using to. And the last one is, being a sunny day, I decided to skip work and stay at home. So being a sunny day means the sun is there, the sun is shining very brightly, and so brightly that somebody decided to skip work and stay at home. Now here, see, this is a very tricky sentence, so you will have to understand it a little. Here, this I and being should be perceived in close association with each other. Let me give you another example so that you can understand it better. Being a sincere student, you must obey your teachers. Alright? Now in this sentence, this word being is used for you. Alright? Who is a sincere student? You. So it means if you think you are a sincere student, you must obey your teachers. You getting it? But here, if you apply the same formula, being and this word I, in this sentence, can you say that the word being is used for I? Obviously not, because I cannot be a sunny day. A student is obviously a person, and here we are talking about you. Here we are willing to say if you think you are a sincere student, you must obey your teachers. So here the word being is used for you, but here being is not used for I. Being is used for the sunny day. You getting it? Being a sunny day. Therefore the answer would be, it must begin with it. It being a sunny day. This correction is required here. It being a sunny day, I decided to skip work and stay at home. And therefore I said it's a little tricky, and therefore I tried to explain you. Okay, so that is it for today. I hope you learned something through this video and these examples. I'm coming up with these videos these days particularly to help the viewers and audience and the subscribers of this channel in case they are preparing for any kind of competitive examination. They can get some guidance from these videos also, because initially I had uploaded most of the videos where I rather shared the knowledge of how to make several kind of sentences. So I was working upon the basic of English language, and this is why most of my videos were in Hindi at that time. But as you remember the name of the channel, Hindi to English to English, that means we are supposed to reach to the advanced level. And when we are talking about the advanced level, we must remember there you cannot reach until you learn basics of English, and then only communication in English itself is possible. The number of things which cannot be translated, which can only be understood in English alone about English itself. And therefore these days uh, I'm trying to make most of the videos which will contribute either to the preparation of any kind of competitive examination or to enrich our vocabulary. So in that series this video has been uploaded. I hope you find it useful. In case you find it useful, please like, share and subscribe the channel. Share it with your other friends also, so that they can also avail these kind of videos. See you soon with another very interesting and meaningful video. Thank you very much. Till then, take care and bye bye.